lágọ̀ọ́ rẹ̀ CCTV camera lójú pópó l'Íbàdàn commissioning of mobile squadron units lágọ̀ọ́ rẹ̀ tí wọ́n dà bẹ́ẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ máa pèsè yìí ò ṣe nǹkan kan nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ wa ìtẹ́tọ̀ òbírí náà wọ ìjọba gbà ó ṣàgbékalẹ̀ farm estate lákòókò èrú àti awẹ́ lábẹ́ òsádà ó tún fẹ́ gbẹ̀rún lọ́nà ogún àgbẹ̀ léṣo kí wọ́n gbè lóko wọn ó mójútó ìdókòwò tó lè máa pawó wọlé fún wa nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ asphalt àti quarry plant níjàyè gbogbo ẹni tó ń ṣe sí ọ̀fọ̀ ilẹ̀ rẹ̀ báyìí nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ní kíákíá ìrọ̀rùn ló ń bá dé o ẹgbẹ̀gbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ owó tó gbé kalẹ̀ fún dènà COVID-19 nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ bó ṣe ń fani ló ń sọ̀nà ló ń so ni owó oṣù ìjàwó òṣìṣẹ́ yàmọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn òṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì ń gbẹ̀tọ̀ wọn déédéé a ní ẹni gbúrúwò kẹ́ẹ̀rí sẹ́tíṣẹ́ yìí Mákindé ń ṣe ẹlẹ́ẹ̀ráyè ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ṣé wàá rí báyìí polówó kan tẹ̀lú ẹ kí sáwọn tẹ̀m̀bẹ̀lẹ̀kọ ẹ̀dá tí wọn kì í ráṣẹ yọrí ẹlòmíì ẹ jẹ́ gbárùkù tí ẹnjìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé kó kẹsẹ̀ járí lójú pọ̀nà àfojúsùn kó mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin tó gbé lọ́wọ́ yìí ẹ̀yin ará bí ẹ fò tẹ́lẹ̀.
ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ o fàjà mi àgbẹ̀ máa dùn.
ìkéde ìwá láti iléeṣẹ́ ìròyìn àṣà àtìrìnàjò afẹ́ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Good morning, our wonderful listeners and viewers. You are welcome to your darling program, Newspaper Review, on Alore Radio, transmitted from GSM Studio at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan. My name is Olukemi Omotosho. With me is...
I'm Temitope Ojoawo. Good morning to you. You're welcome to the fresh edition of today's Newspaper Review. We'll be further you with the headline falsehood. Later we'll go into the depth of today's Newspaper Review. The leading story on the front page of the newspaper this morning says subsidy Nigerians to spend 6.7 trillion naira on fuel in 2022. NLC Senate for 5,000 naira palliatives.
I have with me the Nigerian Tribune. And the first story I'm going to read says 5,000 naira transportation grant not provided for in 2022 budget, Senate.
With 49% foreign ownership, Nigeria Air start operation in April 2022.
Sanwo-Olu presents 1.39 trillion naira 2022 budget.
5G, Nigerians should expect smart cities, self-driving car facility, says NCC.
NLC TUC rejects 340 naira planned petrol price.
Senate alleges secret recruitment into federal civil service.
Federal government earmark over 190 billion naira for 2022 census.
Vandalism, high sector GDP contribution dropped by 270 billion naira in 9 months.
Air Nigeria takes off April next year.
Reps other probe of federal government absconded 97 billion naira cancer center.
My husband was killed like an animal, says widow of OAU MBA students.
Unijos, OOU, IMS soon named among visitors with 707,189 illegal admissions.
And on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune, federal government lacks constitutional power to reject Lagos panel report on NSAS Falano.
DPO caught selling Ogun student, but it caught in fracas, painted with stones.
NAS spends 1 billion naira yearly on fruitful constitution review, Clark.
Police boss Ekiti kidnap syndicate, arrest member in Kwara, Osun.
Secret employment ongoing in federal civil service despite embargo, Senate alleges.
Police recover body of Jonathan's ex-aides abducted brother in Kwara Bush.
Igboho, DSS planned extradition negates Buhari's political solution, Afenifere.
Lagos proposes 59% capital expenditure. Sanwo-Olu presents 1.388 trillion naira budget.
Secondary school students attack DPO in Ogun.
Estate Jerusalem protesting land grabbers invasion, demand Lagos intervention and stop Obiano from leaving Nigeria after tenure. EFCC tells immigration.
With that, we have come to the end of the newspaper headline reading. Let's go for a short break and to come back for the details.
àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọlé gbẹ́yẹlé àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀. ẹ lẹ́ bàbá àdé ẹ wo aṣọ ọ̀gbẹ́yẹlé nìkan mọ́ nísìn ẹlẹ́yẹlé gan-an làṣà ń gbé ọ̀rọ̀ ojú omi ìwọ̀n wa rí yín fún. ṣe rí nígbà tí ìjọba kọ̀ tí ó sọ̀rọ̀ làwọn ọ̀dọ́ ti ṣaṣara bàgbó pé kí gbogbo àwọn oníṣẹ́ bí ó kù lágbègbè wa ni wọ́n bá níjọba sọ pé kámórí wá ká fọrùn lẹ̀.
tá ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àdìó ìwọ náà sì tún pẹ̀lú ọ̀bọ jáwúra ní bí wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan tíjọba àpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ń sọ ni pé a lè fi nǹkan tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó ṣàtúnṣe nǹkan tí ò dáa ó dàdó láti gbẹ̀ tí wàá dẹ̀hùn ṣé eégún kan ti wá yọrẹ sí babaláwo yín bí rárá o bàbá ní nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé kẹ́yìn ọ̀dùn tó fọn níjọba ti yàwó túlù fún ẹ̀ṣọ́ aláàbò Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn pé kí wọ́n fi tọ̀gbẹ́ tààlà láti lé gbogbo àwọn ẹni ibi jáde ní kọ̀lọ̀fín wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣètò ọlọ́pàá scotland ibi fáàbò gbogbo wa nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ náà ni ṣèjọba tó wáá ṣe yìí ní ìwà rẹ̀ nìràn lẹ́rù ló tún mọ́ ọkọ̀ fẹ́ bí.
ọ̀rọ̀ yíyé mi bàbá àmọ́ ọ̀tọ̀ ní táwọn èèyàn náà wíìkì.
àwọn ará bíi ti tòṣèlú bọ̀ ọ́nù nígbà àtàkùté wọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta òré ó rí wọn lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára táwọn ti ròyìn òfegè ní ibi láti sọ̀jọba gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ní súná bú ni.
bàbá kí làá wàá ṣe ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pọ́nrọ̀ sọkúsọ bíi náà nú ẹ̀rọ ni.
ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ tẹ́ ẹ nífẹ̀ẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ dénú náà ní kẹ́ ẹ sọ fún gbogbo òlù pé orí ìpinnu àṣà ò gbọdọ̀ wọlé gbẹyẹlé ní ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ dúró lé.
ó ti yé mi bàbá mo sì ń lọ rèé fọrẹ́rẹ́ rẹ̀ náà nù. iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìròyìn àṣà òun ìrìn àjò afẹ́ tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.
You're welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. You can log into Facebook account at www.facebook.com/Alore Radio. Also, you can get yours on YouTube at Alore Radio, and our website still remain www.aloreradio.com. While mobile app available on Play Store, our mobile number still remain 09039853731. We're transmitting from the GSM studio at the Ministry of Information Secretariat, Ibadan.
Oh, thank you. The first story I'm going to read is on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. It says, Sanwo-Olu proposes 1.39 trillion budget, infrastructure, education top priorities, activates 30 years development plan for Lagos. Lagos State has earmarked huge capital expenditure in the 2022 fiscal year to service key growth areas in order to consolidate the recovery of the state's economy and positively transform residents' livelihoods. In the proposed 1.388 trillion budget for year 2022 presented to the House of Assembly on Wednesday, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the state would be spending 325 billion naira to deliver vital infrastructure projects in key sectors to energize and expand the growth of the state's economy. The key areas of growth identified by the governor includes works and infrastructure, waterfront and infrastructure development, agriculture, transportation, energy and mineral resources, tourism, entertainment and creative industry, commerce and industry, wealth creation and employment. The human capital development drive of the Sanwo-Olu administration is projected to take a leap in 2022 with an allocation of 21.24% combined in the total expenditure to education and health. For the rest of that story, turn to page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Sanwo-Olu proposes 1.39 trillion budget.
And on page 2 of today's edition of the Punch newspaper, subsidy Nigeria to spend 6.7 trillion naira on fuel in 2020. NSA, Senate for 5,000 palliatives. Nigeria will spend about 6.732 trillion naira on the purchase of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, within a period of 12 months once the federal government stops subsidizing the commodity from February next year, investigation have revealed. This came to the fore on Wednesday as the Nigeria Labour Congress described government's plan as a penny-wise fund, foolish gamble. The Senate and economic experts also voted the federal government plan to pay 5,000 naira each to 40 million Nigerians to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. The group managing director of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, had on Tuesday announced at a World Bank event in Abuja that petrol will sell for between 320 naira and 340 naira per litre from February 2022. The current pump price of petrol at filling station is between 162 and 165 naira per litre, although the product is almost sold at the upper 165 naira per litre rate due to recent challenge in the downstream oil sector. The 165 naira per litre price is basically because the product is being subsidized by the federal government through the NNPC. Going by the latest revelation of the NNPC board that the subsidy on petrol will end in February, and the price jack up to 340 naira per litre findings showed that Nigerians will spend about 18.7 billion naira daily for the over 55 million litres of petrol consumed each day across the country. Get the rest of that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Subsidy Nigerians will spend 3.7 trillion naira on fuel in 2022. NSA Senate 45,000 naira per litre.
A twin of that story is on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. I have NLC rejects 340 naira per litre fuel price. Any unilateral decision of government will be resisted, TUC. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, as in a statement signed by its president, Comrade Ayuba Waba, and made available to journalists on Wednesday, 24th November 2021, declared that government's attempt to increase fuel pump price to 340 naira per litre through the pronouncement of Malam Mele Kyari, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (GMD), has been rejected by workers. The statement titled, "Nigerian workers refuse to take the bait," said in full, and I quote, "A few hours ago, the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC), Malam Mele Kyari, announced that the price of petrol could jump as high as 320 and 340 naira from February 2022. The NNPC GMD CEO said that the price increase will be consequent on the plans by the federal government to remove subsidy on premium motor spirits, also commonly referred as petrol or fuel. The grand optimism of the NNPC GMD was predicted on the claims that the removal of the fuel subsidy is now backed by an act of parliament, probably the Petroleum Industry Act, which was recently signed into law. For the rest of that story, turn to page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. NLC rejects 340 naira per litre fuel price. Any unilateral decision of government will be resisted, TUC.
On page of the Punch newspaper, police recover body of Jonathan X, said the abducted brother in Kwara Bush. The Kwara State Police Command on Wednesday said it recovered the dead body of a kidnapped victim, Onijala Adegboyega, who was abducted last Friday in Yola in the Ishin local government area of the state. A statement by the police public relations officer, SP Lajayi Okasomi, said the body, which had been caught, was recovered from the bush in the Henley house on Wednesday. Okasomi said the 56-year-old might have died from the injury he sustained while struggling with the kidnappers. Record that Adegboyega, aka Onije, a brother to Ambassador Litolo Onijala, and niece to former President Goodluck Jonathan, and a former gubernatorial aspirant of People Democratic Party in Kwara State, was kidnapped by gunmen in his white Hilux van while returning from his farm at Ola around 7 p.m. on Friday. He reportedly resisted the gunmen but was overpowered after receiving machete cuts in different parts of his body. The police spokesperson in a statement said the Kwara State Police Command wishes to inform the good people of Kwara State about the recovery of the dead body of one Onijala Adegboyega, aged 56, who was kidnapped on November 19, 2021 at Olatan in the Ishi local government area of Kwara State. Police recovered body of Jonathan X abducted brother in Kwara Bush. Get the rest of the story on page 4 of the Punch newspaper.
On page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune, I have the story that says, no provision for 5,000 naira transportation allowance. Excuse me, please. In 2022 budget, Senate. The Senate on Wednesday said it was not aware of the provision of 5,000 naira monthly as transportation allowance for 40 million Nigerians in 2022 budget. Senator representing Lagos West and Chairman Senate Committee on Finance, Solomon Adeola Olamilekan, disclosed this to journalists on Wednesday at the National Assembly complex, shortly after submitting his committee's budget proposal before the Senate Committee on Appropriation. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, has said the federal government will make the sum of 5,000 naira available to Nigerians effective the next year to mitigate the economic hardship envisaged in the plan to increase the price of petrol. But Senator Olamilekan dismisses this disclosure by the minister as mere rumor, as he submitted that there was no such provision for the 40 million Nigerians in the 2022 budget. He wondered how such an official pronouncement that would cost the nation 2.4 trillion in a year was not accommodated in the budget, and also expresses reservations about the criteria that will be deployed to identify the beneficiaries. For the rest of that story, turn to page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. No provision for 5,000 naira transportation allowance in 2022 budget. Senate says subsidy accommodated. It will last only 12 months. Finance Minister.
Also on page 8 of the Punch newspaper, 158 Nigerians stranded in Libya return. The National Emergency Management Agency has confirmed the arrival of 158 Nigerians who were stranded in Libya. The returnees who arrived aboard Al-Burak Airline Boeing 737-800 with registration number 5A DNJ were received at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport at around 5:47 p.m. on Wednesday. According to a statement by the Southwest Coordinator NEMA, Ibrahim Fariloye, the returnee include 86 female adults, 6 female children and 13 female infants, 42 male adults, 2 of whom had medical cases, 3 male children and 21 male infants. The statement read in part, NEMA has just received a batch of 158 stranded Nigerians who are voluntarily assisted back to the country. The returnee who were assisted back to Nigeria by International Organization for Migration and Arrival at Murtala Mohammed International Airport at about 17:47 aboard Burak Airline Boeing 737-800 with registration number 5ADMG. Get the rest of that story on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. 158 Nigerians stranded in Libya return.
On page 19 of the Nigerian Tribune, I have Makinde approves renaming of 19 special schools. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has approved the renaming of 19 special schools in the state. State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Abiodun Abdurrahim, conveyed the governor's approval at a formal event held at the conference room of the ministry, where the new names of the concerned schools were unveiled. The approval followed a June 2020 letter of appeal written to the state governor by a citizen of the state, Mr. Adetayo Adekunle. Adekunle had in the letter argued that school names such as School for the Deaf, Handicapped, Blind and Disabled were discriminatory and derogatory, as well as breached relevant constitutional, statutory and international enactment. Upon receiving Adekunle's letter, Abdurrahim said the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology embarked on painstaking consideration on the issue, raised and activated the process of the change of the names. For the rest of that story, turn to page 19 of the Nigerian Tribune. Makinde approves naming of 19 special schools.
On page 5 of the Punch newspaper, 5 suspected kidnappers arrested in Ogun Forest, identified by victims. Operatives of Ogun State Police Command have arrested 5 suspected kidnappers operating from a forest at Eleja Obadaoko in the Ewekoro local government area of the state. The State Police Public Relations Officer Bimbola Oyeyemi on Wednesday saw the suspects were arrested following information received by operatives that some kidnappers were seen on 2 motorcycles inside the forest in Eleja area. He said, and I quote, the suspects Aliu Maya, Usman Abubakar, Abayomi Olaiwola, Nasser Mohammed and Bello Usman were arrested following information received by the policemen attached to the Obadaoko Divisional Headquarters. The men were sighted on the 2 motorcycles inside the forest at the Eleja area of Obadaoko around 8 p.m. Upon the information, the DPO Obadaoko, CSP Tijani Mohammed, quickly mobilized his men and in conjunction with other stakeholders like the Source Safe Corps, hunters and local vigilantes stormed the forest where the 5 suspected were apprehended. Get the rest of the story on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. 5 suspected kidnappers arrested in Ogun Forest, identified by victims.
On page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune, federal government earmarks over 190 billion naira for 2022 census. The federal government has allocated over 190 billion naira for the conduct of 2022 census exercise. Senate Committee on National Population and National Identity disclosed this in Abuja. Chairman of the committee, Senator Shahib Alhaji Yahu, spoke to newsmen after he defended the 2022 budget of the agencies under his committee before the appropriation committee. According to him, and I quote, the president is ready to conduct the national census by 2022, and census is capital intensive, So much has been allocated. If it is not sufficient, most likely the president will come up with a supplementary budget to be able to conduct the census properly for it to be accepted by all Nigerians. For the rest of that story, turn to page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. Federal government earmarks over 190 billion naira for 2022 census.
Page 5 of the Punch newspaper. Police bust Ekiti kidnap syndicate, arrest member in Korea, Oshun. The Commissioner of Police Ekiti State, Sunday Mubayo, on Wednesday said the dismissed policeman, identified only as Samuel, was among members of a kidnap syndicate arrested by men of the Rapid Response Squad in the state. He noted that the suspect confessed to participating in different abductions and robberies in the state. Mubayo, who was represented by the State Police Public Relations Officer Sunday Abuto, spoke in Ado-Ekiti on Wednesday while parading suspect arrested for criminal activities including kidnapping. Police investigation led to the arrest on November 17th of one Johnson, who confessed to being a member of a notorious kidnapping gang and further stated that he usually impersonates Fulani aidsmen due to his physical resemblance to a Fulani man. He added, police bust Ekiti kidnap syndicate, arrest member in Kwara, Oshun. Page 5, the Punch newspaper of today's edition.
Still on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune, national carrier Air Nigeria to take off April 2022. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved April 2022 as the takeoff date of Air Nigeria, the proposed new national carrier. Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika revealed this while briefing correspondents on the outcome of the council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, on Wednesday. He recalled that it was the 6th time the matter was brought before the cabinet for consideration. According to him, the federal government will acquire only 5% equity in the airline, while other Nigerians will get 46%. He disclosed that the strategic partners, including foreign airlines, will be identified to take up the remaining 49% equity. The minister also said the national carrier, when operational, will create about 70,000 jobs to Nigerians. For the rest of that story, turn to page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune of today. National carrier Air Nigeria to take off April 2022.
And on page 7 of the Punch newspaper, man remanded for impregnating 11-year-old girl aborting pregnancy. The Rivers State Magistrate Court sitting in Port Harcourt has remanded a man, Chigozie Ajay, to the Port Harcourt Correctional Center for raping and aborting the pregnancy of 11-year-old house-up. Ajay faces 3 counts of threats to life, abortion and rape. When he was arraigned, the Chief Magistrate R.N. Ibinabo declined to entertain charges of threats to life, stating that the court lacked jurisdiction. Ibinabo, who adjourned the matter to January 25, 2022, ordered that the case file be transferred to Directorate of Public Prosecution for legal advice. It was gathered that Ajay had been on the run since he committed the crime in 2022, but was arrested by the police last week. The counsel for the family of the 11-year-old girl, Mayor Hohea, said the suspect raped her and impregnated the pregnancy was aborted. Thereafter, the girl had severe pain due to the abortion. She ran away from his house and later opened up to her family members. Then the police were contacted, said Hohea. Get the rest of that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper.
On page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune, secret employment ongoing in civil service, Senate alleged. The Senate has bemoaned the high-scale secret employment in the civil service, despite claims that the federal government placed embargo on job placement. Worried about the high rate of unemployment in the country, the legislature regretted that bandits, kidnappers, and insurgents found arms of unemployed youth as readily available recruitment ground. The Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs said government should, as a matter of urgency, ensure recruitment of eligible Nigerians into public service. Chairman of the committee, Senator Danjuma Lai, made this known on Wednesday while submitting the report of the committee to the Senate Appropriation Committee compiling submission on the 2022 budget. For the rest of that story, turn to page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. secret employment ongoing in civil service, Senate alleged.
On page 21 of the Punch newspaper, with 49% foreign ownership, Nigeria Air starts operations April 2022. The proposed national carrier will begin flight in April next year. The Minister of Aviation, Adesi Sirika, herself. The development came 3 years after the federal government announced plan to establish a new national carrier following the liquidation of Nigeria Airways in 2003. At the end of a virtual Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari retired at the Presidential Villa Abuja on Wednesday, Sirika told State House corresponding that the federal government will hold not more than 5% equity stake in the additional airline. The rest of the story can be found on page 21 of the Punch newspaper.
And the last story from my own end is a sports story. It says 3SC TM hails players' commitment to training. Team manager of Shooting Stars Sports Club 3SC of Ibadan, Dimeji Lawal MON, has commended the players of their positive response to training ahead of the 2021-2022 season of the Nigerian Professional Football League NPFL. Addressing the players after Wednesday's training session at the Lagos Salami Sports Stadium, Kabongo, as the former Super Eagles wingers is fondly called, said he was highly impressed with the progress made by the team preparatory to the new season. He said, and I quote, "I must confess I am excited with the way we are making progress day by day on a daily basis. I can see that we are improving as a team, and I want to attribute this to you players' commitment and response to training." For the rest of that story, turn to page 31 of the Nigerian Tribune. 3SCTM hails players' commitment to training.
And on sport page of the Punch newspaper for today, Eagles to campaign Nigeria for AFCON Roha. The Super Eagles are expected to campaign Nigeria ahead of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations, barring any last-moment decision. Janitorial has revealed Roha hopes to begin campaign on December 28. Nigeria have been drawn alongside Egypt, Guinea-Bissau and Sudan in Group D. The Eagles will face Egypt in their opening game on January 11 in Ghana, with Nigeria winning their most recent encounter of 1-0 win in friendly in 2019. Roha, whose future as coach of the team remain in doubt despite steering the Eagles to the playoff round of 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, also want to play one friendly game before they departed for the tournament. He also hinted that he may not be there for the tournament. And that brought us to the end of today's edition of the newspaper review at the GSM studio. At the GSM studio at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Secretariat Ibadan. Hi, I'm Temitope Ojawo. Thanks for staying tuned.
Wonderful morning to you, our listeners. Have a wonderful day. My name is Olukemi Omotosho. But you can like and share on our Facebook at www.facebook.com/aloreradio. On YouTube it is Alore Radio. Our website remains www.aloreradio.com. Mobile apps available on Play Store. Have a wonderful day. Thanks and bye.
Iṣẹ́ Olúwa kò sẹ́ni tó yé. Iṣẹ́ Olúwa jù tàbá lọ. Lọ́lọ́run ọba fi gbọ́ àga. Lọ́lọ́run ọba fi gbọ́ àga ò lẹ́bí ń bínú. Lẹ́bí ń pẹ̀tọ́ owó.
Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká lọ. tá a bá rẹ̀ ní tá a kórìíra. táwa fẹ́jú ẹ̀sán náà wípé kó má dépò. tọ́lọ̀ wa gbogbo ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ dépò tán. èèyàn gbà fọlọ́ ní o. kí ló dé ẹni tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ọ̀tá ọ̀lẹ abiyamọ ọ̀tá àgàn. ó ní pàkútì ọ̀tá ẹni èkó wọ̀yà. ká mẹ́yìn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tún mẹ́yìn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ òsì. ká fẹ́yìn ní dẹ́lu sẹ́yìn ẹni tí ò ní yin ni ò ní yin ni. ẹ pé gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ò ṣe nǹkan kan kò ṣe nǹkan kan. pẹ̀lú àfojúsùn òpó mẹ́rẹ̀ ẹni tó gbé lọ́wọ́ tọ́lọ́ ń sìn fún iṣẹ́ lọ. akitiyan Ṣèyí Mákindé lójú ọ̀nà ètò ẹ̀kọ́. ó ṣe káńsù ẹgbẹ̀rún mẹ́ta tó bí ń san lórí ọmọ kọ̀ọ̀kan. ó ṣe ẹ̀kọ́ dọ̀fẹ́. ó kúwe ó tún yàrá ìkàwé ṣe. bẹ́ẹ̀ ló falẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ gíga LAUTECH padà di tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. ètò ìlera ń kọ́. àtúnṣe pẹ̀lú pípèsè ohun èlò ìfúnlẹ̀ ìwòsàn alábọ́dé. ẹ̀wọ̀n laboratory tó wà nílé ìwòsàn ní Ọ̀yọ́. àwọn ọkọ̀ ambulance gbogbo wọ̀nyí ń kọ́. ìgbìyànjú Ṣèyí Mákindé lórí ìkétò ààbò ni mú dán nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ń kọ́. ó pèsè ọkọ̀ fáwọn agbófinró kí wọ́n máa fi yíde patrol ní tìbútòrò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. operation boss tó kó fún wọn láyé tẹ̀ ìwéré ilé àtàgbọ́ rẹ̀. CCTV camera lójú pópó ìlú Ìbàdàn commissioning of mobile squadron units lájọ rẹ̀ tí wọ́n dà bẹ́ẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ máa pèsè yìí ò ṣe nǹkan kan nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ wa ìtẹ́tọ̀ òbí náà wọ ìjọba gbà ó ṣàgbékalẹ̀ farm estate lákòófò ìrú àti awẹ́ lábẹ́ òsádà ó tún fẹ́ gbẹ̀rù lọ́nà ogún àgbẹ̀ lẹ́sọ̀ kí wọ́n gbẹ̀ lóko wọn ó mójútó ìdókòwò tó lè máa pawó wọlé fún wa nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ asphalt àti quarry plant níjàyè gbogbo ẹni tó ń ṣe sí ọ̀fọ̀ ilẹ̀ rẹ̀ báyìí nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ní kíákíá ìrọ̀rùn ló ń bá dé o ẹgbẹ̀gbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ owó tó gbé kalẹ̀ fún dènà COVID-19 nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ó ṣe ń fani ní sọ̀nà ló ń so ni owó oṣù ìjàwó òṣìṣẹ́ yàmọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn òṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì ń gbẹ̀tọ̀ wọn déédéé a ní ẹ̀rìn gbúrú wò kẹ́rì iṣẹ́ tíṣẹ́ yìí Mákindé ń ṣe ẹlẹ́ẹ̀ráyè ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ṣé wàá rí báyìí polówó kan tẹ̀lú ẹ kí sáwọn tẹ̀m̀bẹ̀lẹ̀kọ ẹ̀dá tí wọn kì í ráṣẹ yọrí ẹlòmíì ẹ jẹ́ gbárùkù tí ẹnjìnìá Ṣèyí Mákindé kó kẹsẹ̀ járí lójú pọ̀nà àfojúsùn òkú mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin tó gbé lọ́wọ́ yìí ẹ̀yin ará bí ẹ fò tẹ́lẹ̀.
ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ o fàjà mi